Hello and welcome to my Skyrim Projectiles video. So let's talk about some weird things that projectiles do in Skyrim that you probably didn't know about. The first thing that they can do is that they can be affected by your movement. So like let's say I release at this tree in the distance and it goes all the way over here off of Crosshair. Now this is not a mod that does this. This is default Skyrim behavior. So if you actually are moving and you cast a spell and release it, it will inherit your velocity in either direction you're moving. It also inherits your up and down velocity. So let's say I'm traveling at an angle. Oh, let me get that angle. I have to release as I'm falling. Here, let's just go on a slope. That'll be much easier. So we're on a hill. We're going down. Great. So it kind of went down a little bit. So every direction you're moving will change the velocity of your spell. This can be very annoying, and you probably didn't even notice this was happening. You probably just thought you were missing. You're actually probably not missing if you're pretty accurate in FPS games. What's actually happening is the spell is inheriting velocity, and you probably just weren't aware of that. I actually think this is an interesting thing in the game. I don't know. This is projectiles inheriting velocity is from a game I actually really like called Tribes. In Tribes, you move extremely fast and everything is like projectiles, and like all of your shots inherit your velocity, so you have to like compensate. So if I wanted to hit this tree at a distance, I have to like aim like here to hit that tree, right? And also if I slow down, it doesn't move as much either. So if you want to counteract this, the easiest thing you can do is just stop moving. So like if you're dodging like an arrow, wait for the arrow to fly and then cast after you stop moving. Alternatively, you can just like step forward or like move backwards really quick to just like put it back on course. So like you're casting a spell, you're dodging, and then you stop and release. So that's the easiest thing to compensate to prevent your spells from becoming wildly inaccurate. Another weird thing you can do with magic in general is it can be used while falling. So I'm going to go run over this cliff here really quick. Just to kind of show that. This is especially useful with destruction magic. And also note, you cannot do this with a bow. As soon as you start falling, once you have a bow active and you have an arrow drawn, it will cancel. So with magic, you can just straight up fall, and then you can even cast it in midair too, which is kind of cool. But just like we learned earlier, your spell will be affected by your downward momentum, so yeah, something to keep in mind. So if you cast it like right before you start falling, that'd be the best time to cast it, or after you land. So yeah, those are some strange things about projectiles. To conclude, there's one more strange thing about projectiles, and that is magnetism. In Skyrim, arrows. Oh yeah, also by the way, all arrows are affected by this as well. So if you have the Ranger perk and you're moving side to side shooting arrows, they actually will be thrown off course based on how fast you're moving. So this does affect archery. But one thing about both arrows and fire projectiles and like ice projectiles is that they have magnetism. So if an enemy is like standing up on this cliff and they're like just their upper body is exposed, there are times when you'll cast a spell on them and it'll magnetize the spell down and cause it to hit a cliff or a railing, and it can be really annoying. You'll probably be wondering why that happened, and the reason is because like even though where you're aiming is up, the spells want to be magnetized to certain parts of the enemy. This isn't completely consistent either, it's kind of random, but overall, like if it starts happening, like if you're casting a spell like here and then it starts magnetizing it down to there because it's trying to hit their torso instead of their upper body or their head, you'll just like miss spells randomly and you'll wonder why that happened. That would be the reason. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then to conclude, we'll just snipe this wolf. And there he is. So thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next one.